out of everything real estate. So you buy, you sell, you have a lender, you have a realtor, it's FSBO, it's, or for sale by owner, or it's cash, whatever it may be. The title company is the only one required on every single transaction. We're completely shoppable. So we're consumer choice, yet the consumer has zero idea who we are. Mm-hmm. The industry itself just doesn't help educate consumers. Mm-hmm. So I think that they absolutely would care if they were aware that there's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of difference between title company A, B, and C. That's directly out of the consumer's pocket. Some title companies travel, some don't. Some have attorneys, some don't. Some use notaries. And, there's so much information out there. It's not that they don't care. It's just that they're not aware.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Realty FC podcast. I'm your host, Chris Hild, and with me, I have Michelle Lewis. We are the brokers at Realty FC, and I'm excited today. We got a pretty cool guest coming on, and we'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
But first, I want to know, what show are you watching right now on Netflix? Because I can't find anything to watch. I feel like...
Are you a binge watcher like we are?
Absolutely. I can't get into those shows where you have to wait a week and then finally get around because just the excitement sometimes. I just can't. It makes it hard to sleep sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we need to find a new one.
Yeah, you're in the same boat as I am.
Yeah, I'm into the new season of Virgin River.
Oh, I saw the preview of that.
Love that show.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
It is. It's good. That's actually my cardio show in the evening. I watch an episode while I either walk or ride the bike.
I am laying in bed eating a dessert that I shouldn't be eating when I'm watching Netflix.
No, but that's what I'm watching right now. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into the murder mysteries.
Are you?
Yeah.
Now, we like everything like political and lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Hard pass on that. Nope.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. House of Cards.
Yeah, okay. We're on two different wavelengths.
Survivor. Oh, those were really good.
Okay.
Really good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and
stuff.
if you like something like really off the wall, Shameless. Have you done Shameless?
Someone else told me about Shameless.
It's hilarious. It is hilarious.
Like Ted Lasso,
adult
hilarious?
only, make sure the kids are in bed. But it's...
Yeah, that's a whole other challenge.
When we first started watching it, we started the first episode and we're like, this is lame. We can't watch this. So we turned it off. And a few weeks later, we decided to try it again.
Yeah.
Well, then we really got hooked.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Once you're hooked, you can't stop. That's why I like to binge. So, hey, on a different note, you ready for the holidays?
I'm getting there.
Yeah?
I'm a procrastinator when it comes to finishing my shopping.
Yeah, I think we're all procrastinators, just the nature of the
I'm
holidays.
always last minute. And then I feel like maybe I didn't do enough and I go out and do more.
I think the retail stores, they do it on purpose to make us procrastinators. They make the sales as late as possible, and we all got to cram and try to get the best deal.
Right.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
So.
Well, hey, look, we've got an awesome episode coming up. And it's with a professional, another expert in their field, Tim Ketron with Clear Title. And we're going to talk about all the title issues that you can even imagine. We won't overwhelm you. Any questions you ever have, just contact him and he'll walk you through it.
Oh, okay.
So let's go ahead and let's welcome Tim to the show.
All right.
All right, welcome to the show. This is Tim Ketron, who's joining us today from Clear Title. How you doing, Tim?
Fantastic. How about you?
Doing great. Hey, listen, Michelle and I were just discussing what our favorite Netflix show is. I got to ask you, since we were talking about it, do you have what's your recommendation on Netflix shows? Because I need something to watch.
I would say my favorite Netflix show is The Witcher.
The
I don't know
Witcher.
if you've seen The Witcher, but it falls in that Game of Thrones era type thing. But yeah, that's my favorite. That's my go-to for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I might get a lot of backlash on this, but I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
You're
I know.
kidding.
I know.
No?
Can we edit that out? I don't know, because I haven't seen Game of Thrones. So Witcher, maybe I'll have to watch that one.
Oh, so good.
Okay.
It is so good. It's got the dude who plays Superman and the Justice League, Henry, whatever his name is.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
All right,
It's
well,
definitely worth the watch.
I like superheroes, so I might definitely get into it. And the other thing we were discussing is holidays. You getting ready for the holidays?
We are. This is going to be the first Christmas since we finalized our adoption of our granddaughter. So 2 years, 3 months.
Oh man,
finally
that's
done.
Wow.
So
congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
this is a really big year for us. It's a big Christmas. We're looking forward to it. So
Yeah,
it's
how
all
old-
going to be about her.
How old is she?
She will be 3 in January.
Oh my goodness,
man.
at that
Good for you.
fun
Good for you.
age.
Yeah, we've had her since she was about 4 months. So it's been a long journey, and finally got through everything. And judge signed. It's official. So we're super excited to
That's
have
great.
Christmas with her.
All right. That's awesome,
That's
man. I'm
great.
excited for you too. Well, hey, listen, everyone listening and viewing out there, we're going to get into some pretty cool stuff. We're here to educate you, not bore you too much. We're here to educate. So let's go ahead and let's dive in.
Cool deal.
All right, Tim, you're an expert in your field. But let me ask you, how did you get into this business, into the title world?
So my parents actually own Clear Title. And it's a cool background because 20 years ago they started it. My mom spent her entire career in mortgage, and my dad was title. So they were able to
Go hand in hand.
understand really the ins and outs of title, and felt like they could create a company that was had a better understanding of how everything in the back end works. So. Like I said, 20 years. We've had a couple of the same people work with us the entire 20 years. So,
Lots of experience.
Wow.
Hey, the name Clear Title, I think it's an awesome name. That's what everybody wants.
Clear to
Title.
close.
For sure,
Clear to
for sure.
close.
And clear to close. That's right. So, what role do you play in the buying process? What role does a title company play in the buying process?
So I guess when you think about it, most people have no idea what a title insurance company is, what a title company does. I would say you find people the American dream of home ownership.
Right.
The lender is going to finance it. We're going to protect your right to maintain it.
Okay.
So we go and make sure that house is actually something that you're allowed to own. We do all the background to make sure there's no judgments, there's no liens, there's no contractors that weren't paid. There's a lot of potential things out there that could show up after the fact.
Right.
We go back and just make sure that none of that exists. So when you buy the house, you don't have to worry about somebody coming and taking it from you. Then we go through the process of holding all of the funds. We execute all the documents with the buyer, with the seller, notarize everything, record it, and disperse all the funds out. So we're just like the last piece of the puzzle, but also the ones protecting your right to own it.
That's a good way to explain that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, why do you think it's important for a buyer to have a title company? I mean, why would they choose Clear Title?
I think...
And let me interrupt you real quick. I mean, because, as real estate agents, Michelle, I mean, you probably would agree with me. We come across buyers that they don't just really seem to care about what title company that they go with. I mean, we give them options, right, Michelle?
Right, that's correct.
And they just say, whichever one you think is best. I mean, why? I mean, should they care?
I think it's not that they don't care. It's just that they're not aware. They don't understand that out of everything real estate. So you buy, you sell, you have a lender, you have a realtor. It's FSBO, it's or for sale by owner, or it's cash, whatever it may be. The title company is the only one required on every single transaction. We're completely shoppable, so we're consumer choice. Yet the consumer has zero idea who we are. The industry itself just doesn't help educate consumers. So I think that they absolutely would care if they were aware that there's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of difference between title company A, B, and C. That's directly out of the consumer's pocket. Some title companies travel, some don't. Some have attorneys, some don't. Some use notaries. And, there's so much information out there. It's not that they don't care. It's just that they're not aware. They don't have an understanding of the process. So they just go with whoever, the realtor or the lender suggests. And they don't really dive into the differences that separate us so that they're protecting their own best interest.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, as realtors, we're trying to put our clients first, right?
Right.
And if we can save them money, I think we would want to recommend, who can help them save money, right? I would think
exactly.
so.
Exactly.
That
And
is.
I've worked with Clear Title several times. And where are you based out of, real quick?
So we're in Front Royal, but we service all of Virginia. Right now, just Virginia. We travel anywhere in Virginia. So the office is in Front Royal, but it doesn't matter where in Virginia. We'll come to you to do the closings.
Yeah, I think that's very important. You mentioned that some title companies will travel, some won't. And Tim goes everywhere. He comes to our office here. We do closings here. And I'm like, hey, Tim, where are you off to? He's like, oh, I'm off to Gainesville. I'm off to Arlington. He travels all over the place, and you personally do the closings yourself.
Yeah, Roanoke tomorrow. And I will say this. So one of the other things, title companies may say, yes, we travel, we go somewhere.
Yeah.
But what they're doing a lot of times, and this is a question for you as a realtor to just ask, to find out, so that you really are better protecting your consumer. They'll send a notary. Well, a notary, by law, is not allowed to explain the documents. They are allowed to say, sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here. This is a pretty important transaction. So wouldn't you want somebody, I'm a licensed settlement agent, and I'm a notary, I'm allowed to go and explain the documents. So I'm actually taking the closing to the client, wherever they may be. Right. Some companies do that, but a lot of them are just sending a notary. That's a good thing for you to know, just so you can ask.
Okay. Yeah, I've had notaries do deals before, and the client will have a question, and a notary just will have no idea. And sometimes it really prolongs everything, because they got to make phone calls and try to figure out how to answer that question. It just just doesn't look very professional, in my opinion. So real quick, Tim, what is some of the craziest stuff you've seen as far as what clouds that have come up on titles or things that have just been major issues? Do you have any stories like that you might be willing to share?
I would say right now, one of the bigger things that's happening is during COVID, there was a lot of forbearance. So you were allowed to not make your payments. What a lot of people, what happens is people don't understand that didn't just go away. What happened is it becomes like a silent second, if you want to call it, and it gets recorded, but it's not on your credit report. It's not something you make payments on. It's not collecting interest. It's just kind of sitting there waiting for you to. So if you got to skip $7,000 worth of payments, that $7,000 didn't just go away. Yeah. It's actually on title.
Wish it would.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So then a lot of times what's happening is the abstractors aren't catching it. They're getting better now because it's become so common. But there for a while, it was something that was easily missed because the loan officers don't have it on the credit report. It's just not something that's out in the open. And the consumers have no idea. A lot of times they have no idea that they actually have to pay this back. They thought it just went away and because their payments are less forever, but it's not. It's actually, they signed, they understand, or they supposedly understand that this is just a second deed of trust that's going on the property. So when you go to sell the property, if that gets missed, then that new buyer just bought that $7,000 debt. So thankfully title insurance is there, but we did see quite a bit of situations happening where that was coming into play.
Okay. Yeah, and just to kind of back up a little bit, I want to point out that the title work starts pretty much right when we get a contract, right? And then we submit the contract to the title company, like yourself, and you guys start turning the wheels or doing whatever you're doing. Now, you mentioned abstractor. Talk a little bit about what they do.
So the abstractor is the one that actually goes to the courthouse or into the systems and does all of the research on the property. Right. So, if it's a 60-year search for a purchase, then they're going to go back 60 years and search everything that has happened on that property. So every time it's sold, it's transferred, there's a refinance, if there was a judgment, if there's a lien, anything that has been done in the last 60 years, are just going to go back and make sure that we can actually issue a title insurance policy. So title insurance is, we're the only insurance piece that actually insures the past, not the future. All of the other insurance companies are insuring something that could happen in the future. We're just going back and ensuring that nothing bad happened in the past that could come back against you.
Now, the title insurance, some people don't understand that that's protecting the title of their property. That's not completely different than homeowners insurance.
Yeah. And that, if you as a consumer buy that owner's title insurance policy, then that $7,000 we were talking about earlier that could accidentally be missed and show up, that title insurance policy is what would pay for that. So it's not protecting you against a tree falling on it, but it is protecting you from any debt that somebody else owes that you just bought when you bought the house. And that's, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And, it's better to have peace of mind than nothing.
Yeah, we've had an agent where a tree fell on the house. So you mentioned that story. That's happened. So it does happen.
Yeah.
Michelle, you got any crazy stories about title problems that have come up?
I actually have quite a few.
We only got so much time.
I know that.
Just one.
Probably the most interesting was, and this was the first time that I had ever seen this. I sold a property that had been in the family for like well over 100 years. And when the title search was done, they found that there had been a life estate given to a relative. But I mean, this happened like back probably close to the 100-year mark. So obviously that person probably is not still alive.
Right.
But nobody could find any record, no death certificates, nothing. Nobody could find anything because it was so old. So that was an interesting situation, but we did, they were able to get an exception on that, and we were able to move forward, but I had never seen that happen before.
You know, unfortunately for me, I'm the one out in the field, so I'm the one who gets to go and experience all the crazy houses and the crazy, sit down at the table type things.
Yeah.
The processors at my office are the ones that get to deal with all of that, the cool stuff like that.
Right,
so
right.
I don't always get to hear all of the cool title stories in those situations. They tell me everything is good and done and ready to close, and I just trust that's where we are. So I get to go into the crazy houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a piece of the puzzle that just a lot of people don't think about. It just happens. The abstractors are back there; they're doing their research, and no one really knows about it, right? And just they expect that you're buying a home, you're buying it. No one realizes that everyone's going back and checking all these records. Because there was one time I sold a foreclosure, and there was a previous owner that I guess maybe didn't sign a document or something, but he lived out in California. So before they could insure the transaction, they had to put a public notification out in the newspaper in California. And again, this is a foreclosure, and give it so much time before. And if he were to have interjected, probably would have caused issues. But he or she never said anything, so that was enough to put that to rest, to take the cloud off the title, and then was able to transfer. So I mean, there's things that are all lined up that you guys are doing to really protect the home buyer, right? So tell us a little bit about from your perspective, what the closing day looks like, because you're the one doing the closings, right? So what does it look like? I mean, what should a buyer expect when they walk through the doors here at Realty FC and say, I see your face, your beautiful face and your awesome beard sitting at the table? What should they expect? I mean, they bring in documents, they sign in lots of documents. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's going to depend on the lender. So if it's a cash deal, it's going to be very small in and out. If it's going to be a lender involved, there's going to be a lot more paperwork. But yeah, that's what they're going to bring their driver's license. I'll tell you a story. Remind me about the driver's license, but that is very important. They're going to sit down and we're going to go over the important parts of what their future is going to look like. So their payments, their payment schedule, when they're due or how much it is, whether they're escrowing, the importance of the deed of trust. It's going to be so much document that we're probably not going to get too detailed into. You can only absorb but so much. We want to make this a positive day and not something that you just fall asleep through.
But you're going to get a copy of it all.
You're going to get a copy of it all. You're going to get to go home and read it. You're going to get to fall asleep if need be. But you will leave knowing the most important pieces, and that's what is most important. So I don't think the closing should be overwhelming. So I try to.
Should be an exciting day.
It should.
Right?
It should be exciting. We should pay attention to what gear we should be in. That's kind of the way I've always been. And if you're not absorbing it, if you don't care, then I'm not going to make you sit and suffer through all of the documents. But you will leave understanding everything that we go through.
Yeah, I've sat in on some of your closings, and you do an excellent job of explaining all the documents. And I don't know that people have a whole lot of questions as you go through it. So you do an excellent job. So kudos to you. So tell me about that driver's license story.
This was when my dad first started. It was his very first transaction was a refinance. So this was years and years and years and years ago. He sat at the table, did the entire closing. At the end of the closing, it was a husband and wife. They're taking like $150,000 worth of equity out of the house. They sign everything. He asked for driver's license. The wife says it's in the car. She's going to go get it.
Oh boy.
She never comes back.
Oh boy.
The husband says, okay, well, let me go check on her. goes out, never comes back. So then my dad, goes through the paperwork and he's calling the wife and, hey, are you coming back? What are you talking about? She had no idea. This was the husband and his girlfriend had just sat down and signed every document, forged her name to try and take out all of the equity and go. So driver's license are a must. Have to bring the driver's license.
Wow, that's an awesome story. I've never heard of anything like that happening. So.
Yeah, that got his feet wet. So now, Dad is very adamant. Got to have a driver's license.
Yes.
Got to have a copy of it. Got to make sure that exists because that could have been really bad.
Yeah, anyone out there that's just trying to pull that off, now you know that's not going to happen.
No.
Wow.
Well, good. Thanks for sharing that. And so we're going to wrap things up. But before we do, what does it look like after closing happens? I mean, as far as the title company goes, what are you having to do? I mean, are you having to, they sign all the documents and that's it? Or is there still things you have to do from the title standpoint to finalize everything?
Yeah, so after the closing, then if there's a lender involved, they're going to have conditions. They're going to have things that they want us to do to send them to show that all the documents were signed.
Sure.
Funds were given to us. And then the lender will send us the funds. We'll go and record the deed of trust. And at that point, we'll issue a title insurance policy. So once we record the deed of trust, we disperse all of the funds. We pay the seller. We pay all of the realtors. We pay the home inspectors. Everything gets paid by us. We disperse all the funds. Then once that's done, we'll issue a title insurance policy, and we'll send the original deed once it's recorded and the title insurance policy to the buyer, and that's it.
Yeah, I just want to bring up a point you said about having to record. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing I want everyone to understand. And Michelle, you probably can have related to this. It has to be recorded at the courthouse, right?
Yes.
Before funds can be dispersed.
Yes.
So I think it's very important from a seller's perspective, especially because sellers want their money, right? Well, that can't happen until it's recorded. And I know there's a lot of title companies that have different capabilities when it comes to recording, right? So it's important that people out there are aware that title companies can either physically go in to the courthouse and record. So it's important that people understand that you're recording at the county for which the property is located. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you have a title company that's, could be in a different state, could be out in pretty far away, several hours away, and if the courthouse doesn't have the capability of e-recording and the title company doesn't have the same system to communicate with that county, they're having to somehow either mail it or physically drive out and drop it off. Right? Have you run into this problem, Michelle?
I've never run into
a
problem, but there is a delay.
There's a delay.
Yeah, there's a delay. And it's the worst part is if it happens on a Friday.
Yep.
And nobody, and if the title company doesn't get into the courthouse on time, then you're looking at it not being recorded till like a Monday. Funds may not even be dispersed till Tuesday. So you're looking at a seller that sold the house, buyers moved in on Friday, okay? And then they've, so it could create a lot of issues, but I'm happy to say Clear Title e-records.
Yeah. Anywhere that so not every county in Virginia accepts e-recording, but all the ones that do, then yes, we can certainly e-record.
Yes, that's important. That's very important.
Now, and I will say, just speaking of that, we by law have 48 hours to go to record. So title, and it's for this exact reason. You might have to overnight depending on where you are, you might have to. But in Virginia, not all states are the same. In Virginia, you do have to record before you can disperse. But we do our best to, even if we know it's a county that can't e-record, we'll either personally drive it there or we'll overnight it the same day. So, we do our best to not go into that 48-hour window. You will find some title companies that they'll push it all the way to that 48 hour. They have 48 hours. Yeah. And you really can't say anything about it because they do have 48 hours to go to record and to disperse. So
now, let me just make sure I understand a part of that. So 48 hours to actually send it, or 48 hours, because I know sometimes the courthouse takes their time in actually recording it. So is it 48 hours to actually physically the courthouse recording it, or just 48 hours for you to send it to the courthouse?
Well, I haven't seen a courthouse that takes 48 hours. But
No. But I guess what I'm saying is if a title company waits till that 48th hour, sends it off, then they're in.
Then it's not recorded. No, they can't disperse.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I just want to clarify.
Just because you send it to the courthouse doesn't mean that it's recorded. So you have to wait until it's recorded. You get confirmation from the courthouse that it's. So if it's a courthouse that doesn't have the e-recording set up, then we'll overnight it to them and keep calling. We'll just keep calling. So Brittany in my office would just over every hour, are we on record? Are we on record? We'll pester them until they just don't want to hear us anymore. So they'll go make sure it gets on record. Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, but we can't disperse. So we're not just going to sit and wait for the clerk to, maybe give us a call if they want to, or we'll be on them because everyone wants their money. Everyone wants this transaction cleaned up.
Yeah. Now, from the time that the abstract has been initially completed for the property until the date that you're recording, is there something that's done to verify that there hasn't been anything else that's gone on record in between that time?
Yeah, and that would be a bring down. And we've actually caught several things through a bring down, but the bring down is exactly what you just said. They'll come in from the time they get to the courthouse. They will go back and look at everything that's been recorded. So if the abstractor gets us title work back October 7th, but the closing is not until October 15th, something along those lines, it's way too fast for it to have happened like that. But just saying, from October 7th to the 15th, we don't know what could have been recorded. So the bring down would be just going back verifying from the 7th to the 15th, has anything else been put on? And you will find that sometimes it does happen. Sometimes there's a judgment, there's a second mortgage, there's something that gets added right before closing, and the bring down catches it.
Okay.
Everything has to be redone at that point.
Okay.
The seller's going to get a lot less money anyway.
Well, hey, Tim, that was awesome. I appreciate you being here. And man, you are just so passionate about what you do. You've been in the business for generations. I mean, you've got lots of experience, and I just think you're doing what we love here, and that's protecting the client, right? We want to do the best that we can, save them money, guide them professionally through this difficult transaction, and just make it as smooth and seamless as possible for them. And I think, from the times I've dealt with you, you definitely do that. So the passion's there, man. You're doing a great job.
Cool. I appreciate it. And I think it is important to remember, when we were talking earlier, we're coming into holiday time. Realtors sometimes will say, well, the consumer doesn't care. We're in a day and age where people get up at 3:00 in the morning on Black Friday to save $50. So to think that they don't care about 500, 600, 700, that's real money. That's real money at the table. That's painting the house. That's a new refrigerator or part of it. That's something that's at the table, real money. And I think for anyone who say that doesn't matter, they're probably not asking that client, or that client just doesn't understand that this is real money. It's not it's not $20. It's not something rolled into the loan. It's real money. So they have to do a better job protecting themselves. And my mission is to try and help people understand that they have the choice so that they can protect their best interest better.
Tim, thanks for coming in. And look, if anybody needs to contact you, how do they get a hold of you?
I really appreciate it. My email is tim@cleartitleescrow.com. My phone number is 540-660-1839. And I'm sure they can reach out to you for my contact info as well. Yep. But I would love to hear and chat with anybody. I really enjoy the talking piece and getting the message out there.
Yeah, no, if they work with me, I'm going to be definitely recommending you, because it's how passionate you are and taking care of the client. It's just awesome.
Cool,
so,
dude.
Thanks again for coming.
All right, thank you.
Man, that was awesome. Tim is just so passionate and knowledgeable about the title industry.
He really is. And he's basically grew up in the industry too.
No, you're absolutely right. Generations. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the title industry is a piece of the puzzle I don't think a lot of folks even think about, honestly.
I don't think they do either.
It's so behind the scenes. The abstractor being in a courthouse, nobody sees them. You're not even really involved from a buyer's perspective with that. We are as real estate agents. We contact them pretty often, just because we're coordinating the whole deal. But I don't think, and I think he shed a lot of light on the whole process and just how they are protecting the buyer.
Yeah, really. It's a piece of the puzzle that most consumers don't really think about.
Yeah,
So
and you know,
yeah.
it's a piece of the puzzle, but man, is it a big piece of the puzzle?
It is.
Because if it's not, if that property's not insured, it could get really, really bad for you.
It certainly could.
Because you definitely want to have like clear title,
Right.
Just like clear title, like is the company's name. So you know what's even cooler? I got some shows to watch on Netflix. I got some pretty good ideas.
That's important, right?
Yeah. I know. Awesome. It's awesome what he's doing. You know, adopting his daughter, or granddaughter.
It is. I'm happy for him, and they're going to have such a great. This is going to be a Christmas to remember.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah.
And hey, I've got a secret. You want to know what it is?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you. It's a secret.
Come
we got a
on.
really special guest coming up on the next episode, so you got to tune in.
And you're going to keep it from me.
Yeah, I'm not going to. It's too big. I got to keep it a secret.
But we don't do that.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to wait. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I trust you.
Tune in next time
All right.
to the Real TFC podcast.